Number 5. The Lenin Book of Zagreb is known as being one of the oldest pieces of written text known to man, written in the Etruscan language. This may not sound all that impressive, though Etruscan was actually one of the main influencers for the Latin language, which in turn was a major influencer for the English language. So this piece of text as well as the language are surprisingly important. Only a handful of major documents are known to have been written in this language, so huge portions of the language remain unknown. Though in regards to this specific book, using what we do know about the language, it appears to be some sort of a calendar detailing religious or ceremonial rituals. Typically with books such as this, they never survive. Climates are usually far too aggressive toward the materials that the books are made from, and they break down very quickly. Though this book was a major exception, as it was preserved due to the fact that it was ripped from its binding and used to wrap a mummy, meaning that the text as well as the mummy remain nearly perfectly preserved. The mummy as well as the text was originally believed to have been Egyptian, though this was quickly proven to be untrue. It took over 40 years to identify the text, but in 1891 it was confirmed to have been Etruscan. To this day, both the text and the mummy remain on display in a refrigerated room at the Archeological Museum of Zagreb, Croatia. Number 4. I'm sure most of us have heard of the Nazca Lines at one point or another, but they're essentially a very large set of drawings and lines that were found in the Nazca Desert back in 1994, as an aircraft was flying overhead. Well, another set of similar lines have been found, though these lines absolutely blow the Nazca Lines out of the water. These lines, called the Sugiyama Lines, are typically between 3 and 10 feet in diameter and can be upwards of 10 miles in length, taking up an area of approximately 70,000 square feet. That's more than 15 times the size of the Nazca Lines. The main reason that these lines are so incredible is simply because of how straight they are. One would expect them to begin to curve or veer off the path at one point or another, though for up to 11 miles these lines remain perfectly straight. Even stranger is that even though these lines are absolutely incredible, no civilization is known to have laid claim to them. Their origins are completely unknown, but many believe that they may even be prehistoric and may have been created over the course of countless generations. While we may never know their true purpose, many believe that these lines could have been used to guide pilgrims, mark burial sites, or that they may possibly have some sort of astrological importance. We may simply never know. Number 3. This next one is something straight out of a sci-fi novel. There exists a supposedly magical, mysterious tablet known simply as the Emerald Tablet. No one knows who created this tablet, who inscribed it, or what it truly even looks like. All we have to go on is its name and countless stories supporting its existence. The only thing that we know for sure is that the tablet was first mentioned in an Arabic book that's believed to have been written around the 7th century. This text claims that the inscriptions on the Emerald Tablet are written in the language of Syriac, but this obviously can't be confirmed. The first Latin and more modern mention of the tablet dates back to the 12th century, though multiple mentions have been made since then, with one even being by Isaac Newton. The tablet is considered to be extremely important in the world of alchemy, as legend has it that the inscriptions on the tablet, or possibly even the tablet itself, will teach the owner how to use base metals to form gold, a metal which at the time was a main form of currency. Though despite the legends and the myths and all the information we've gathered, to this day no one has any idea where the tablet is. Number 2. While Northern America is certainly not as interesting archaeologically as other portions of the world, it still manages to hold its fair share of secrets and mysteries, one in particular being the mystery of the Shaman Rock. The Shaman Rock is simply a rock, though what makes it significant is the painting which was found on it, which is believed to date back to over 4,000 years ago. The rock was found alongside the Pecos River in Texas, near the Pecos Canyon. The rock is measured at an approximate 24 feet and appears to depict what many believe to be a white shaman, with some claiming that the shaman may hold the secrets of an ancient religion. While no one can seem to agree on the exact meaning or purpose of the painting, until recently many believe that the rock actually depicted a handful of soldiers in battle, performing some sort of pre-war ritual around a totem. Though this has obviously since been debated, and now many believe the figure to be a shaman, attempting to communicate with the spiritual world. Number 1. Alexander the Great is one of the most famous documented individuals in ancient history, though Alexander's life and death hold countless mysteries that to this day remain unsolved. Though before we go any further, I realize that Alexander the Great may not seem very fitting for this list, but bear with me and we'll get to that in a moment. Alexander the Great was known to have ruled over Greece until about 323 BC, when he suddenly became ill and passed away about 2 weeks later. Many people believe that Alexander was poisoned after entering Babylon, though recent discoveries and investigations may prove that Alexander simply became sick and that his death was, for all accounts and purposes, a fluke. Around the time of Alexander's death, there were countless suspects who claimed to have witnessed his poisoned state firsthand, including his wife, his brother, and many civilians. However, one very important part of history that was never witnessed was the actual poisoning itself, or the act of Alexander becoming poisoned. This naturally leaves a lot of room for doubt, and in today's world, poisoning certainly wouldn't be the first assumption. In fact, many of the symptoms that Alexander displayed during his final days, such as a high fever, sweats, and abdominal pain, could be explained by something as simple as food poisoning, or the more likely, malaria. Now, this may simply sound like a conspiracy theory at first, and in a way it is, but the fact remains that there's more than enough room to cast reasonable doubt on the fact that Alexander was poisoned. Though we may finally know for sure in the coming years if a handful of archaeologists have their way, and are allowed to survey and possibly dig at the gravesite of Alexander the Great. With today's technology, we may finally be able to find out if Alexander was affected by a virus, a type of food poisoning, or if he was legitimately poisoned by those who opposed him. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.